I'm Ken Holloway, and I'm your golf coach buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Did you know that most people suck at golf? It's true. Every day, millions and millions of people love to get out and go play golf, and most of them suck at it. Now, maybe you suck at golf, or maybe you know someone who sucks at golf. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the 7 reasons why most people suck at golf. And the idea is, if you understand the reasons why most people suck at golf, then you can figure out a solution and fix the problem. Now, I want to talk about myself first because I was guilty of everything up here. I learned all these mistakes the hard way. You may have heard the story about Little Timmy, who found a set of old golf clubs in his grandma's garage, and the next thing you know, he's breaking 80. Yeah, that wasn't me. I learned everything the hard way, but I had fun at it. But yeah, I made every mistake up here. We're going to talk about that today. So settle in, and if you love someone and you care about them, and they suck at golf, and maybe it's time to have an intervention. So be sure to tell them to watch this video. Okay, so let's kick off our list. The first reason why most people suck at golf is that golf looks easy, but it's not. Golf is hard. Now, if you watch people play it on television, you have to keep in mind these are the very best players in the world. And they're practicing their craft and they make it look easy, but it's not. So people have an unrealistic expectation about how good they should be at golf. And in fact, most people do suck at it. There's a famous quote by Arnold Palmer, the king, and he writes, "Golf is deceptively simple and endlessly complicated. It satisfies the soul and frustrates the intellect. It is at the same time rewarding and maddening, and it is without a doubt the greatest game mankind has ever invented." So this is a quote by Arnold Palmer, and I've put it right here on the very first page of my home study program, Play Like the Pros. So let's talk about our terms and what it means to suck at golf and what it means to be good at golf. So I want to give you a heads up on how the statistics lay out. So most people suck at golf and most people can't break 100. Now, if you want to break 100 and you want to talk about being a good golfer with a decent, respectable game, then you want to be thinking about shooting 90 or better. And you want to do it consistently, season in, season out. So 90 or better is our cutoff for good. And getting better than that, you might find it interesting to note that only about 6 to 8% of people can break 80. And only about 1 to 2% of people can shoot scratch or play even par. So golf is a lot harder than you would think. And if most people are being honest, they don't break 100, and shooting 90 would make you pretty good. And if you could shoot 90, you definitely would not suck at golf. So that's point number 1. Golf looks easy when it's not, and golf is actually really hard. The second reason why most people suck at golf is because of poor mechanics and poor fundamentals. So this means that probably you have bad technique, poor skills, no skills at all, or perhaps a poor understanding of cause and effect about how to hit good golf shots. So the solution for that is to find a well-qualified teaching pro and take some lessons. The best players in the world take lessons, and they get a brush up every year about the basics. So we're talking about grip, aim, alignment, posture, and ball position. And they want to make sure that they're setting themselves up for success. Jack Nicklaus did that every year. He would have a tune-up. And so if the best players in the world master the basics and the people that suck in the world don't, do you see the connection? There's a story I really like about Ernie Els. He was working with Butch Harmon, and I have to tell you, Ernie Els has my favorite golf swing in the whole world, far and away. I love his swing. It's like butter. But Ernie was having trouble, and he was working with Butch Harmon, and Butch Harmon was watching him on the range hitting balls. He's like, "Ernie, you're aiming 20 degrees off target." And Ernie couldn't believe it, but of course Butch Harmon was right, and they got it fixed and everything. But it just shows you even the best players in the world can get off on their basics. And so the poor mechanics and the poor fundamentals, that's one of the main reasons why most people suck. Okay, and the third reason is that people don't practice well, or they practice the wrong things. So it's important to have a good fundamentals in the first place, and then in order to keep your game up and get better at golf, you have to practice. So the problem that most people have is they don't want to practice at all, or they only want to practice on what they're good at and they don't want to practice the rest of their game. Now for most golfers, that means they just like to get out and hit the driver. They just love to rip the whole bucket, just ball after ball after ball, rip the driver. And you go out to any golf facility and you see the range is full of people hitting balls, and you look over at the short game area and it's always empty. And this is the same everywhere you go. And whenever I walk up to a range and I look at people, and they almost all suck. So that's just the way it is. And it hasn't changed, and this is why handicap hasn't changed, even though there's vast improvements in technology and in equipment. So the truth is, the worst thing in the world you could do is either A, not practice at all, or B, go out with a bucket of balls and just sit there and hit your driver over and over and over again mindlessly. That's not going to help you be a better golfer. And that's actually what most people do. So that's the main reason why most people suck at golf, is because they don't practice well. And now that leads us to our fourth item on the list, which is having the wrong equipment. Now, I suffer this badly. When I was about 25, I went out and I bought this set of blades at Penny's. And I love these golf clubs. And I'm sure Tiger Woods could go out and shoot in the 60s with this set of golf clubs. And I played with this set of golf clubs for almost 30 years. But guess what the problem was? The shaft was wrong for me and the grips were wrong for me. And for all that time, I didn't even know I was fighting my own set of golf clubs. So that's a big reason why most people suck at golf, is because they don't have the right equipment. So it's important to make sure you have the right set of golf clubs, especially if you want to shoot 90 or better. You got to make sure you get custom fitted. And along the same lines, it's important to have really good golf shoes. And the reason why is because golf is all about impact. The ball flight and the impact of the ball and everything that precedes that is a transfer of forces. And those forces that transfer begins from the ground. So the very first important part of the golf swing is having your connection to the ground. And you can't have a good connection to the ground without really good golf shoes. So that's a real important part of the puzzle. So in order to not suck at golf, you want to make sure you got the right equipment, the right shoes, and the right ball at a minimum. The fifth reason on our list why most people suck at golf is that they don't know what their distances are. So imagine for a minute, you're out playing golf, you're out in the middle of a par 4, you just hit a beautiful drive, and you're out in the middle of the fairway and you look down and your ball's right next to the 150-yard marker. So it's a beautiful calm day, it's a nice easy shot, and you need to know which club do you hit 150. Now most people don't know what that is, and that's why most people suck at golf. And I used to do the same thing. I just walk up to the ball. I didn't even know what my distance was. This was back before they had rangefinders, I guess. I would just walk up and go, yeah, I think that looks like a 6-iron. And I'd grab my 6-iron and give it a rip. And I almost never hit greens. In fact, it was so rare that I would have cause a divot on the green that I didn't even carry a divot repair tool in my pocket. So on the rare occasion, maybe once a month, I get up and go, oh, hey, I have a divot I need to repair. I have to borrow one from a buddy because I didn't even carry one. That's how bad I was at it. So anyway, not knowing what your distances are, it's an easy fix. So you just got to get out there and do the work, get out and group your clubs and find out what your average distance is. And most people don't want to put in the effort, and that's why most people suck. So I hope you're seeing a pattern here. The next reason on the list why most people suck is because they haven't developed a good mental game. Now this is my area of expertise, so I want to go over the highlights for you so you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now the main problem people have with the mental game is they don't stay in the present moment and they don't stay focused on the shot at hand. So instead they're thinking about the past, or they're worried about the future, or their mind's all over the place. So if you want to stay in the present moment, it's important that you develop a good pre-shot routine and pre-shot ritual and that you follow them religiously every time. Now, the other parts of the mental game that you want to work on is you want to have good strategy and follow your strategy all around the golf course. You want to make good, smart decisions and use good course management. You want to keep a good, positive attitude and expect good things to happen. And when you step up to the ball, you want to be poised and ready to play and full of confidence. And the last thing is you want to be able to control your emotions so you don't get too high or too low, but just right. So it's important, if you don't want to suck at golf and you want to make sure that you're able to shoot 90 or better and do it on a consistent basis, then you absolutely must have a solid mental game. Now, if you'd like to get help with that, I'd like to suggest that you check out my program called Play Like the Pros. There's a link above so you can follow the link and get more information. The last reason on our list why most people suck at golf is because they choke under pressure. You've probably heard people say, hey, I hit really great shots at the driving range, but I can't bring it to the golf course. And the reason why is because there's nothing at stake at the driving range. On the golf course, that's when the stakes go up. So imagine for a minute that you've hit a great drive, you've hit a nice approach shot, and you're playing with your buddies, and you've got an 8-foot birdie putt. And if you make that putt, you're going to win. And so you're getting set up to the putt, and one of your buddies says, hey, $100 says you missed the putt. Now, if you're Phil Mickelson, you're going to make that putt every time because that's what Phil does. But if you choke under pressure, you're going to miss the putt, and you probably don't even want to take the bet. So choking under pressure is part of the mental game. It's part of my program here. And I want to tell you that most people don't want to work at the mental game, and I didn't either. And so that's why when I discovered with hypnosis that you could put the whole thing directly into your subconscious mind and put the whole thing on autopilot, that's why I had to create this program. So be sure to check it out. So when the stakes go up and you're laying it on the line, it's important that you're able to reach down deep and allow yourself to get psyched up instead of psyched out. So you don't want to allow yourself to choke under pressure. So let's review the reasons why most people suck at golf. I pointed out earlier that only about 1% to 2% of all golfers can even break par or shoot par. So that shows you how hard it is. It only looks easy, but actually golf is really hard. The second reason, you have to have good mechanics and you have to develop good chops and good skills. And then it's important to keep your skills up, especially if you want to play 90 or better. It's important to have the right equipment. And it's important to know how far you hit your clubs. So without all those things, you're not going to be able to play good, consistent golf. And once you have all that in the bag, then it's important that you develop your good mental game and that you're able to bring your A game to the golf course and not choke under pressure. So these are all the reasons why people suck at golf. And you can see if a lot of people aren't good at any of these things, and that's why they suck. And I used to be there myself, so I'm speaking from experience. Now, all that being said, I would like to recommend in closing that if you want to get up to 90, that you check out my course, Play Like the Pros. And if you want to get better than 90 and go from good to great, then I'd like to recommend that you check out my website, golfcoachbuddy.com, and check out all my coaching programs and services. Maybe we could work together. So if you made it this far into the video with me, then I can tell that you're one of those golfers who cares about playing good golf. You won't be content to be one of the golfers who suck at it. So I'd love to invite you to join our group. We have a Facebook group at Golf Coach Buddy, so be sure to check that out. You'll be welcome there. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to remind you in closing that my name is Ken Holloway, and I'm not just another golf coach, but I'm your golf coach buddy. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.